It's Tracie Connor, nutritionist, and I'm here to talk about bloating. So I see so many women and men actually come to clinic experiencing pain in the gut and bloating. So I wanted to share some really good tips with you to not only identify what's causing the bloating, but ways to get around it as well. So when it comes to bloating, it's really important to identify what's causing it so that you're able to treat it with the best possible way, because there are so many reasons why a person may be bloated. I've narrowed it down to the 6 main reasons that I'll be discussing in this video. But you really need to identify it, and the best way to do that is through looking at someone's diet, so preparing a diet diary and noting down everything that's eaten, and then how they're feeling, and whether that's how they're feeling at the end of the day, or how they're feeling after a certain meal, or even how they're feeling across the week. So sometimes the foods that we eat one day may not show up as a problem until the next day. But it's not only foods, it's a whole lifestyle practice that may be leading to feeling bloated. So the first thing to look at, and you probably are not surprised as a nutritionist that I'm going to say food, but there are some foods that you want to avoid that have been directly linked to gut health issues that lead to bloating. The first and most obvious of the food groups and the food ingredients are sweeteners, artificial sweeteners in particular, and the sugar alcohols, and they are the names, they are listed things like xylitol and sorbitol and that sort of thing. They end in ol, and they can wreak havoc. They can cause bloating and a few other gut issues as well. So they will appear in food items like soft drinks, sugar-free gums. It's usually the sugar-free items. So I mean, you can get sugar-free yogurt and all sorts of different things. So sugar-free, have a look around, turn around the back of the item and see the ingredients. If it has ols in it, OLs, you know to steer clear, especially if you suffer from bloating. I could go on about the whole sugar-free, movement as well, and how that's no good for health, but I'll, not that I'm condoning sugar. I don't want everyone to be eating a lot of sugar, but the sugar-free products and what they do to sweeten the products without adding sugar is worse than sugar itself. So definitely want to avoid those foods. The next are foods that traditionally cause gas. So excess gas is going to lead to bloating and stomach pain as well. And they can be things that are just gassy foods. So foods that have gas in them can be like soft drinks, again, sodas, and sparkling water will even make you feel bloated. And of course, sparkling wine, anything that's added gas to it to make it bubbly and sparkly can lead to excess gas. And then there are different foods that tend to produce gas, but I'll get to that in a minute. So that's when we're more talking about food sensitivities. And look, that can be anything from gluten found in wheat, that's a really common one, or dairy and lactose sensitivity, that sort of thing that can really lead to gut issues and bloating. Even caffeine, that there are sensitivities. People can have sensitivities to caffeine that will produce bloating as well. And I offer a testing clinic in private practice that can identify those sensitivities and to obviously then work with the client to remove them from the diet and offer alternatives. And the gassier foods, but they can also be plant foods. So things like onion and garlic and beans that are healthy foods and really good for us, but for a lot of people, they can't digest them, and it will lead to excess gas and bloating. Not always the gas, but definitely the bloating, and we'll stay on topic here with that too, because I keep mentioning a lot of gas, and look, that's not always the symptom. Sometimes it is just bloat. Sometimes it's a belly that is sore and bloated, and sometimes there are no other symptoms. So yeah, it's not always about having gas, but definitely if you're eating foods that are gassy, it'll cause a problem. So the food sensitivities are definitely something you want to look at, and there are tests available to identify what they are so that you don't have to avoid a wide range of foods just to avoid being bloated. A lack of water. Now, this is something I see in clinic. I've talked about it a lot in my videos, the importance of hydration and the importance of having water in our diet. And there are 2 types of people, I'll say it again, those who are really good with their water and those who aren't very good with their water. What I find when bloating is a symptom with someone that doesn't drink adequate amount of water is that they also experience puffiness. So they might have almost like a layer of puffiness under their skin, and they might feel a bit inflamed, and they've got other symptoms as well, and bloating is definitely one of them. So it's really about monitoring the water intake, because the less water we drink, the more water our body can actually store, and our systems don't function well, and therefore it leads to gut issues and water retention and bloating. So that's a big one. That is a big one that a lot of people, we talk a lot about food, but we don't often think about just that essential element that we need in our life, and everyone needs it, and that is water and proper hydration. And which kind of leads into the next point there about irregular bowel movements. Now, I understand this is probably not something you want to talk about too much, but if you don't go to the toilet and excrete your waste regularly, your body is going to store that waste. And when it stores that waste, not only is there trouble for your health overall, but it also leads to bloating. So if you're finding yourself constipated, this is something that you need to work on to alleviate, because this will also alleviate the bloating. And I definitely work with a lot of people that come to me with that symptom. They may not always connect that dot to being an issue with their overall health, but when we aren't excreting that waste on a daily basis, and sometimes even multiple times a day is beneficial, then it can lead to problems, and especially bloating. So making sure we're regular, really important. And then another one that some people aren't aware of is hormone imbalance. So it doesn't need to even be a great imbalance. It can just be the movements of a woman's cycle through the month that can lead to bloating. And a lot of women will connect that feeling usually in the lead up to their period at the end of the month. And that is because of a drop in progesterone. Primarily, there are a few other reasons, but a drop in progesterone. And especially worsens if the woman is doing any of the other things that I've mentioned. So if they're eating their foods that they're sensitive to, if they're not drinking enough water, if they're reacting to certain foods, gassy foods, this sort of thing, it will be worse during that time of the month. But what about the people that are experiencing it all the time, and yet they also show up with hormonal imbalances? So maybe they have, their periods are becoming shorter or longer, they are moody, they're having skin issues, they're insomnia, and they notice it at certain times of the cycle. These are all signs and symptoms of hormone imbalance, and the bloating can occur with that. So bloating can just appear out of nowhere if we've got a hormone imbalance, and it's a lot to do with the estrogen and progesterone levels. So that's something you want to look at too. And I also offer a test in clinic, in private practice. That's the most comprehensive hormone test on the market. It's a urine and saliva test that can monitor each and every one of your hormones throughout your body at a given time to indicate what might be out of balance and what might be causing it. I'll put all the links below here for the tests that I do, for the food sensitivities and the hormone tests. But I hope that there have been a few maybe lifestyle habits that perhaps you're taking on that you can identify with to say, yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, that's maybe something I need to highlight to reduce, so that it reduces my bloating. When it comes to food sensitivities, like gluten, dairy, this sort of thing, as we get older, now I don't want to put a number on that, because I don't even think 40-year-olds are old, but you know, there's a stage of life that occurs as we reach the late 30s and 40s and 50s, where our bodies perhaps aren't functioning the same way they did when we were younger. And with that is our digestion. So as we're getting older, our digestion slows down a little bit, or what actually happens is our digestive juices aren't performing at their optimum level. So we often need to assist that. And this is why some women in their late 30s and 40s and 50s come to see me. They all of a sudden have food sensitivities. They've been able to work it out. They've noted their food. They've noted how they feel. They realize that they're reacting to this, this, and this, and they go, why all of a sudden? What am I doing? And it often is simply because as they're aging and their hormones are changing and different stages of life is occurring, they're simply not able to digest the food as well as they could. And so the simple solution for this, and it is really, really simple, is to add digestive enzymes. So particularly having them with the foods that you know may be causing problems. And what it does, what they do, the enzymes actually help to break down the particular foods, whether that be the protein, the fats, the carbohydrates that you're eating, to assist with proper digestion, adequate bowel movement, and also less bloating. So you can get natural digestive enzymes through different foods, pawpaw, there's bromelain in pineapple, but it's hard to be eating those foods with all of your meals. There are supplements, there are practitioner grade supplements that I can supply that are digestive enzymes, and that you take that with a meal and you literally, you can feel yourself digesting it better. So I do recommend this to a lot of my more mature clients that are having any digestive issues, because this is a really big help as well. As far as avoiding the sweeteners and additives and limiting your amount of gassy foods, the soft drinks, the sparkling water and wine, that sort of thing, it's literally just about avoiding or limiting that, because the more you expose yourself to that, the more you're going to be feeling bloated and gassy. And then with water, that's another thing I work with clients in practice, is looking at creative ways for them to introduce more water into their diet. And that can even be through really hydrating foods, as well as flavoursome water to help them gain more water. So I do hope this has been helpful. There are 6 really, really common features when I see someone and they have bloating issues. I hope that resonates with you. I've put some links below. Let me know in this if, please comment and share and like and subscribe, because I'll be sharing more tips like this all the time. And I really hope that you take good care of yourself, and I hope you found this helpful. Okay, bye.